You alright? Get that cooker on, we're going live.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Welcome back to the Early Bath Football Podcast. Ed's is already laughing.
Wrong order.
It doesn't matter what order I do it in. It doesn't matter.
Goodness.
But anyway, it's Friday, and that equals football chat, and it's the day in which Ed Sheeran has released his new album. Apparently, we found out. So Ed's been furiously scribbling down Ed Sheeran puns, and I think we're going to get a few of those today. So for better or for worse, I'm really sorry for all of those that are listening and watching that who don't even like Ed Sheeran. People might not even like Ed Sheeran. But anyway, I am joined by Ed. Hello, Ed. How's it going?
Evening. Yeah, all good.
Evening.
Got a bit of a cold, so apologies, dear viewers.
Oh no.
Bit nasally this week.
Bit nasally. That's fine.
Strokes.
Barnes, have you got a cold? How are you?
I have. I've got the early Bath lurgy, but now Ed Sheeran's paid us a load of money to advertise his new album. I'm feeling much better.
Fantastic. And Chris, do you still have cold, or have you risen in temperature?
I feel as if I've shaken it off a bit and whatnot. I'm feeling a lot better than what I have been. So it seems as if I've passed on the early Bath lurgy to all the others, which I do apologise.
Was that a Taylor Swift pun there, Chris?
Yeah.
Shaking it off.
That's the wrong singer.
Wrong person.
You're just
Get
warming
him
up,
out.
Chris.
Get him out, right? I'll remove Chris. Anyway, but no, I for those who are watching, I don't have a cold. I'm simply built different, and this early Bath lurgy has not affected me yet. Touch wood. Anyway, let's talk football, lads. First of all, of course, we were concerned about Steve Bruce. Now I think we're a bit concerned about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But this week he's fought back. Our episode on Monday, we thought that he was going to be sacked. It was imminent, but he's survived the week. He's surviving until tomorrow's game against Spurs, at least. And I've actually heard that he's going to be given the 3 games, the Spurs, Atalanta, and City games, I think, are the ones that he's been given. He's given that dreaded vote of confidence, I think, from the Man United board. He had a press conference today, which Chris called him spiky, which is a really good adjective to use. He said it's been a difficult week, but they've trained really hard. He's willing to fight back. He's ready to fight for this club, etc., etc. That's nearly a Cheryl Cole pun there. Fight for his love, but who knows? Ed, Ollie not being sacked. Are you surprised?
Yeah, I mean, we sat here last week and we were all adamant that he wouldn't be here today, and he is. He can obviously talk the talk behind closed doors. I think it's interesting that United have given him a vote of confidence, and that was an absolute shocker last week. But let's see what you can do under pressure. So yeah, we'll see how this weekend goes. I think he has to get a response. We've been talking about how poor the players were last week. If he can't, and if they can't motivate themselves to win against Tottenham this weekend, I think it's as much a damning view on them as much as it is on him, because 2 big games that they've had this weekend and last weekend, and if the performance is as poor as it was last weekend, it's horrendous, really.
Barnes, is there going to be an Ollie special this week? Is he going to turn things around?
I actually think there will be an Ollie special, in that Ollie is in a hole of his own making. He's in the mud. Everyone's saying Ollie out.
Holy Gunnar Solskjaer.
Holy Gunnar Solskjaer. And I'm just thinking out loud here. But
all right, there's the idea. We're going to get Ed Sheeran, Claxon.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that he will. Manchester United will beat Tottenham this weekend, just because Tottenham are potentially maybe the ideal fixture for Manchester United this time, because they have probably been just as poor as they have. And I think Ollie does this thing where he's about to get sacked, or everyone thinks he's about to get sacked. And as I said, he rises and he comes back and he gets a win. So I think Manchester United are going to win on the weekend.
That's a huge claim. Chris, what do you think about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Have United, is it the right decision that they haven't sacked him? And do you think he'll get a result this weekend?
Personally, I generally think it is the wrong decision that they haven't sacked him because, wow, you just look at the way they played against Liverpool, and like I said, it was amateur, disgraceful, pathetic the way they played in that. But I can generally see them getting a result against Tottenham. Just the fact that, like with Tottenham, it's an interesting one because I know a lot of the Tottenham fans don't like Nuno Espirito Santo, and I know this is more of an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer segment, but I'm going to have a bit of a rant about Tottenham here.
Oh, feel free.
And it's kind of like, well, why are you blaming Nuno? Nuno was quite clearly not the guy that the board wanted in the summer. I mean, they went for 9 other managers before they got Nuno and that, but the board, shock horror, Daniel Levy wasn't willing to give, the incoming manager money or the salary they wanted. And I just think with Spurs that, with Harry Redknapp and Maurizio Pochettino, those two managers especially, they massively overachieved with Tottenham. They've done really good jobs and all of a sudden Spurs fans think that they should be up there, like they're a top 4 team. And that is kind of like, well, no, that's not how it works. Like, you have to have an owner that's, willing to, help the club go forward. And all right, fair enough, Daniel Levy has given Spurs a new stadium and a new training ground, but you look at their team on the pitch, like nowhere near the quality they had in when you look at their starting 11, that 2019 Champions League final. Their team back then is a mile better than what the team is like now, and that. But going back to Ollie, I think he would have picked up the pieces and built a Lego house this week. It sort of helped. You like to think anyway that you'd like to sort of like go through like his tactics and think, what he's got, what him, obviously McKenna, Carrick and Phelan have to do tactically this week against Spurs. And for me, I think they should try and go on the front foot against Spurs and that. And it's also quite interesting to see that a lot of Man United fans actually, well, they might not have been Man United fans, but a lot of like fans like saying, "Oh, man, you should drop Ronaldo." It's like, well, all right, that's fair enough, but you're arguably dropping one of the greatest players in our generation up there with Lionel Messi, of course, and it's like, all right, don't get me wrong, I am a big fan of Edison Cavani. I love his like energy and the way he presses, and like you just watch his movement, it's fantastic. And I generally think it should be a way that Ollie should actually be thinking, is there a way I can get both Ronaldo and Cavani in the same team? Because, all right, yeah, they're 2 older strikers in that, but they're 2 world-class players, in my opinion. And, yeah, I think they will get a result against Spurs tomorrow.
Interesting. Ed, on United's game this week, was it just a small bump, the Liverpool defeat, or not? Was it what you expect? Ed Ash like that one. I've lost my train of thought now. For Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, does he have to change things up for this game? Does he have to change formation, personnel, etc.? If you were a United fan and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer lined up 4-2-3-1 with Fred McTominay centre defensive mid and the exact same players that have got him into this mess, is that the right thing?
You'd be fuming, wouldn't you? I think he's got to make changes. Realistically, if he plays the same team, same tactics, they could well lose. And not only that, he could lose his job. I think he's been given, 3 games or so. He doesn't necessarily get 3 games. He could quite easily be sacked this weekend if it's as bad as it was the weekend before. You just don't want those bad habits creeping in every week.
Oh, no.
I think if it was me, I'd be not necessarily I think he needs to change some of the personnel, because unless they have been unbelievable in training this week, some of those performances last weekend warrant being dropped 100%. The question is, how many players do you drop? Ash mentioned that, Chris mentioned there that some people are calling for Ronaldo to be dropped. I think he's almost untouchable, unless he has an absolute stinker. I think Maguire is probably undroppable at the moment. Is
that because Sir Alex Ferguson said so, Ed?
Remember, he's one of the best players in the world. I don't think you can drop him.
Why? I don't know. Why should one player be undroppable? I'm not saying Ronaldo is the root of the problems, but why? I don't really see why Ronaldo couldn't potentially be dropped, especially maybe not in the game they have, but yeah.
I think to drop him, you've got to have a very good reason to do so. Either his form is terrible or somebody else is exceptional, and none of the United players are exceptional at the minute.
That's fair.
You could make a case for Edinson Cavani because he works harder, but Ronaldo's a better finisher, better goal scorer. He's going to score you more goals given the chances. Harry Maguire, I'd say, is undroppable purely because he's captain. Is a big statement in a game that you have to win. Is a big statement to drop your captain. And De Gea is probably the other one because he's actually been relatively decent. I know he conceded 5 last week, but yeah, I think the shape of United has got to change. If it was me, I'd be playing. If it was me, I'd potentially go 3 at the back because we talked about it in the chat this week. Harry Maguire in a 2 seems very exposed at the moment. I have a feeling he's been rushed back from injury a little bit too early. He's not got his match sharpness back. So if you play 3 at the back, the reason for playing 3 at the back is because you can't rely on 2 of them to defend. You play 3, so there's more solidity. So I think of Maguire and then either Bailly or Varane if he's fit, and Lindelof. I think could be the making of Lindelof in a 3. You look at what Conte did with David Luiz in a 3. So play Lindelof in a 3. And then I'd drop Wan-Bissaka. I can't believe how bad he was last week. It was embarrassing. The issue is that you then potentially have to play Dalot there. And I don't think he's very good either. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what he comes up with. I think, yeah, he's got to do something right. He's got to bring his A team.
Oh, God. Ash, you challenged Ed there on dropping Ronaldo, and you've spoken to me earlier this week about the role that Alex Ferguson plays at Man United, and you were a bit confused. You were a bit, I don't know. You asked some questions about it. Do you want to just explain that to the boys a little bit more?
Yeah. So I'm gonna preface this, I suppose, with Sir Alex Ferguson, obviously probably the best manager the Premier League has ever seen. And a Manchester United legend. So from his perspective, I completely understand why at this point in time when the club is, in trouble, that he wants to be involved. But I'll just start off with a tweet that Barney Ronay, the Guardian journalist, made. Do you remember that game against Everton when they dropped? I think they dropped Ronaldo, and then Sir Alex Ferguson was talking to some guy from the UFC and was like, "Oh, Ronaldo should be starting every game," and I think it made national news anyway. And he said, maybe the problem with Man United is that the big story is an ex-manager who shouldn't be in the picture, having views on an ex-player who shouldn't have come back, not being selected by an ex-player who shouldn't be the manager. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of sort of looking back to the past when it comes to Manchester United a minute. And it's not just the signing of Ronaldo again. I mean, Ole is practically being backed by Sir Alex Ferguson. And you've got a lot of coaches, and even the director of football, Darren Fletcher, is very close to Sir Alex Ferguson. I just don't really understand why he is allowed to still have such influence at the club. And that's nothing to do with his legacy. If we look at, for example, Arsene Wenger, I know he left in very different circumstances to Sir Alex Ferguson. But the influence is having. It's time to let go. I think they need to just let go. I feel like they're trying to do exactly what they did before. Ole's trying to go back to how Sir Alex Ferguson played. They're playing extremely attacking. They play practically 4-2-4. They're trying to press. They're trying to get the fans off their feet. They're really going for it. And I can understand that to an extent. They really want to sort of bring back the good times. And I think they all look back to that Sir Alex Ferguson era with sort of maybe a bit of rose-tinted glasses, but it was obviously a great era for the club. And I just don't understand. They just need to start afresh, I think. I think Sir Alex Ferguson sort of needs to back out, and they need to maybe appoint a new director of football to give them a new direction and go somewhere different. I just think he shouldn't be saying that Ole should stay. That's not his role to come out and say that. And then the board buy it because the fans were like, "Oh, well, Sir Alex Ferguson said it, so I can get behind that." Like, that is not the way to run a football club, and to run a football club as big as Manchester United on my old manager, who we really liked, suggested this. It just baffles me. And obviously, like, again, no disrespect to Sir Alex Ferguson, but I just think he's wrong on this. And as this kind of relates to, what we see with Gary Neville as well, where he's just refusing to sort of say that Solskjaer are out because they're sort of this big, 1999 group or whatever, and that was they're all friends. They just need to let go and start afresh, I feel.
Yeah, it's a bit of a baffling one, isn't it? The whole Gary Neville thing is a whole subplot in itself.
Oh yeah.
My mate Ollie.
I didn't know he was Scouse.
I didn't know he was Scouse
I
either.
didn't Scouse either, yeah.
I didn't know. I had no idea. I can't do a Manc accent. I wouldn't want to. Chris, for the game tomorrow, who would you reckon gets dropped? Who do you reckon should be knocking on Ollie's door this week, saying, "Look, let me get you out of this trouble. Come here, I'll save your job."
Ollie would probably reply back with, "We're closed."
No, you're not. Sir Alex at the door. No, you're not.
Yeah. Get that fucking McFred on. I mean, obviously the main culprits that should be dropped, pretty much Fred and McTominay, and I know Man United fans absolutely hate them with a massive passion, especially Josh Leafy, who still hasn't appeared on the pod since the thrashing. I think he's too scared. He's too scared on FM as well. Has to use downloaded tactics, and he's a poor manager at FM. But in terms of players knocking on Solskjaer's door, just like the usual suspects, really. The
Eric
usual
Jemba, Kleberson.
Yeah, maybe a bit Quinton Fortune and that. To be fair, they are missing a player like Ji-Sung Park, energy and someone that can actually play with the ball in the middle of the park, not like Fred and McTominay. But they don't get me wrong, they do the dirty work well, but then they just haven't. They're just not ball passers, if you know what I mean. They're not really one of them that they'll be able to find like a 30-yard pass in that. But in terms of players knocking on Ollie's door, I can imagine Van der Beek's probably been bashing it in to the point where Ollie's probably had to change office multiple times, just to ignore Van der Beek's calls and that. But
maybe that's why Van der Beek was got rid of his agent, because his agent was banned from the training ground.
Possibly, yeah.
Knocking on his door.
Yeah.
Wicked whispers of Ed.
Yeah. Maybe someone like a Jadon Sancho as well. Obviously,
Oh yeah, of course.
From a neutral point of view and from an English fan point of view, it kind of frustrates me what's happening with Jadon Sancho at Manchester United, because we all know he's a fantastic player. I mean, you just look at what he's done at Borussia Dortmund. I mean, obviously, I've been called out for saying the Bundesliga is a competitive league before, and I know a lot of people say that the Bundesliga isn't that much stronger of a league than that, but Sancho is getting 20-odd assists a season in the Bundesliga, which is ridiculous numbers, no matter what level of competition. And and again, this brings me back to the point where I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should be Manchester United manager, because I think a general and better manager gets the best out of his best players available, and Sancho on his day it would be one of Manchester United's best players available. And again, obviously I mentioned it earlier, but even someone like Edison Cavani just saying, "Look, try and get me in the team alongside Ronaldo. I'll do all the running up front," and Cavani is one of them that he will chase lost causes as well, and that he's just a fantastic striker to watch. And even someone like Eric Bailly as well. Eric Bailly must be thinking, why on earth can't I get a game when you've got two clowns like Maguire and Lindelof at the back, making themselves look like bunch of comedians as well. And well, I don't know if he's injured either, but even Alex Telles, I mean, as much as I've sung the praises of Luke Shaw, he hasn't had a perfect season, let's put it that way.
Calling out the entire team here, Chris.
Yeah, you're just calling out the whole squad here, Chris. I respect
Thoughts on Rashford?
I'm just channeling my inner Josh Leafy.
Gabriel Obertan.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why players I don't know why players like Gabriel Obertan and David Bellion are not knocking on the door asking for an opportunity on Saturday.
Anyway, there you go. Thanks, Chris. We'll move on. We'll move to Moved to Barcelona, actually, which I think is also an Ed Sheeran song.
It is, yeah.
It
It's on
is.
the
Yeah,
list.
there we go. There's the
Yeah.
pun. We're back. But there's been another. We can't call it early bath, but it's a managerial sacking / early bath-ish. But probably very late for Ronald Koeman. Actually, he's been in charge for 14 months, and I saw a report earlier, which is it Laporta, the Barcelona main guy. I don't even know what it is. He said I
He's
should
the
have sacked
president.
him. President, I should have sacked him ages ago. He said so. Maybe a late bath for Ronald Koeman there, which is not great.
The
but
water's
bath-
gone cold in the
The water's
bath.
gone cold, tepid. The water's
Yeah.
tepid.
The bath was run weeks ago.
Barca have got 15 points in 10 games in La Liga. They're currently sitting, where are they?
9th.
9th in La Liga, which is
Not
a
good.
bit of a shame. He's been sacked and he's gone. Ed, what's happening at Barcelona? It's a bit of a sorry state of affairs,
It
isn't it?
really is. I mean, they've talk about a fall from grace. It's really unbelievable how poor they've been. Similar to Arsenal in many ways. I think they're maybe a little bit more,
Chris there.
maybe a little bit more successful than Arsenal. But I mean, just everything about Barcelona at the moment is baffling, isn't it? The finances and the way the clubs run off the pitch, performances on it, the manager is just never ending. I've seen rumours that they're in contact with Xavi to bring him in as manager, which is brave. I think he's done quite well, but it's in a tin pot league in the Middle East, isn't it? So
it's like Al Sad, isn't it, or something?
Yeah.
Very sad.
Not exactly the perfect playground to hone your coaching skills. So yeah, very interesting club at the moment. I wonder what people like Sergio Aguero are thinking, having gone from Man City, who seemingly have a very good setup, a very stable manager, backed all the way to moving to Barcelona and what is quite frankly a shit show.
Well, quite frankly, there's no way. Don't sugarcoat it, Ed.
No.
Barnes, do you think it was? Do you think Xavi's probably the right choice? I know you just talked about the whole looking to the past thing for Man United. Is it a bit of an easy way out for Barcelona here going to Xavi?
Yes, I think Laporta. Has anyone seen that YouTube video where Al Sadd scored like a great one-touch passing move? I think Laporta's definitely just watched that and get him in. I've seen this one YouTube clip. Get him
Highlights
in.
reel.
Because he's clearly not, again, another one of these managers who, if you look at his qualification, I know he won the Qatar Cup in 2017, but I don't think that quite qualifies him for the Barcelona job. So it's a bit of a strange one. But then when you think club legend, like Xavi really is a club legend, at least he has a tiny bit of experience in management, I suppose. So it's probably not the worst appointment. I imagine the fans will get behind it. And if you compare him to, I think with Barcelona, I think just the brand, the kind of football they were playing under Koeman was the reason he went. I mean, when you signed Luke de Jong up front, the Barcelona fans are starting to worry because when you think Barcelona, when I think Barcelona, you think sort of tiki-taka football, and that's sort of the main image of them especially from the Pep years. And I think Koeman has sort of been slowly veering away of that, the worst quality of players they've started to get. And I think Barcelona at the moment would take losing games as long as they're still playing that style of football. Which, to be honest, at the moment, they're really struggling in the league, aren't they? I think someone dared say they were 9th, and they lost to Rayo Vallecano last night as well. So they're in trouble. So they might sort of forget results. I think they just want to keep up brand Barcelona and keep playing good football. I assume that will be Xavi's task to do that.
Do you know what I found really sad was that in one of his press conferences, Koeman said, "Oh yeah, I'm just going to enjoy the rest of my time as manager." Like he knew his time was up.
Yeah.
That was before the Rayo
That's like a
Vallecano
dog,
game.
isn't it? Oh
Yeah.
no, that's
like a
sad.
Make-A-Wish Foundation. I'm just going to try and
God.
enjoy it. Have a nice special occasion at Barcelona
happier
versus Rayo
elsewhere.
Vallecano. Yeah.
Happy is also an Ed Sheeran song.
Yay.
Thank you.
Very good. No worries. No worries. Chris, do you feel sorry for Barcelona at all? That they're fall from grace. Do you feel sorry for them at all, or are you just, you know what, who cares? As long as Arsenal and Oxford are doing well. I mean, Arsenal. As long as Oxford are doing well.
To be honest, I'm quite surprised that Barnes didn't feel sorry for Ronald Koeman, because I know Barnes is the guy that feels sorry for most of the managers. And that,
He's a very sympathetic man.
he is a very sympathetic man, but I'm going to follow in Barnes' footsteps, and I'm not going to say I feel sorry for Barcelona. I feel sorry for Ronald Koeman, because it's almost like he's been asked to take this as a weird boxing analogy. It's almost like he's been asked to fight Tyson Fury with one arm tied behind his back and with an eye patch over his right eye, and the board still expect him to win the fight.
And without a boxing glove, because he had to get rid of Messi, didn't he?
Exactly.
And also, I think he had to get rid of Suarez as well when he first started, if I remember quite rightly. So,
yeah, and he had,
not ideal.
And it was like a 40-second phone call or something like that.
Yeah.
But like, obviously, like you just tell, like, because Koeman was one of the last sort of fragments from the Bartomeu era of Barcelona, which obviously the name Bartomeu is probably just like a massive swear word in Barcelona now. I can imagine there's probably pictures of his face on a dartboard where literally everyone just throws darts at his face. And that, but I don't feel sorry for Barcelona, the club themselves. They got themselves into this mess, and you know, even like Laporta, he's still a liar. Obviously, he lied to Ronald Koeman saying, "Don't worry, you're going to have Messi for this coming season." Look how that's turned out, by the way.
Yeah.
Messi's in a Paris Saint-Germain shirt, and obviously, like Barcelona have also lost Griezmann in the summer as well, and. Like again, like Laporte is one of them that he still wants to go ahead with the whole ridiculous idea of the European Super League as well. So no, I don't. I feel more sorry for Ronald Koeman, who's obviously tries to do the best job he can given the circumstances, and like considering he sort of said like I think even when he was like Everton Southampton manager, he was sort of saying like I'm a former Barcelona player. Barcelona is my dream job, and he even left. You'd probably say he left a comfortable job when he was Holland manager, because he was doing well with the Holland national team and that. And yeah, he even left them to go to Barcelona. And yeah, unfortunately, I mean, you say it hasn't worked out for him. Like you think, like obviously last season, he managed to get them into the Champions League. He won them the Copa del Rey. It's like, what more did Barcelona fans want? And obviously now he's lost Barcelona's greatest ever player. And that, and yeah, I just feel sorry for the guy. But like, obviously, it looks like Xavi's coming in. I think Xavi is sort of like the right call, because it's kind of like a low risk, high reward sort of managerial appointment and that. And like you think of, because that's another good thing that Koeman done at the club. Obviously, people aren't going to talk about this, but like if it wasn't for Koeman, you maybe wouldn't see the likes of Pedri or Gavi get game time at Barcelona. And obviously he's brought them in, and they've both been doing well, which you've got to give credit to them. But obviously with Xavi coming in, I think he'll help mentor the players coming from the La Masia youth academy, and obviously players like Pedri and Gavi, and like make them realise that how much more it means to play for Barcelona. So I think that will be a clever appointment. But Barcelona fans can't expect Barcelona to be challenging for league titles and Champions League like that as soon as Xavi comes. They have to give him time. They have to give him time to rebuild, and obviously the board, have to get Barcelona out of this financial crisis that they're in. It's not a mess; it's a crisis. And yeah, they just need to give Barcelona. They just need to give Xavi or whoever comes in time.
You're sounding a bit Xavi sexual there, Chris.
I'm in love with the shape of him. All right.
Oh God. Okay. There's another Ed Sheeran.
Ronald Koeman sat there saying, "Give me love."
Okay.
Moving on.
Anyway, I think Chris, I completely agree. I think that Xavi could be a pretty shrewd appointment for Barcelona. I think everyone remembers Pep was promoted from the B team, wasn't he, when he became Barcelona manager? All those young players coming in, things like that. So I think Xavi could sort of emulate that potentially. He knows the club inside out. But yeah, and we always know that former players coming in to manage clubs always works out well. Yeah,
100%
absolutely.
Success rate.
100% success rate. Can't think of any club that are in danger at the minute and questioning their decision.
The chap who is currently in charge of their B team has taken over as interim manager, isn't he? Barjuan or whatever his name is.
What's his name? Gep Guardiola?
No, it's Sergi Barjuan.
Barjuan.
Yeah. Sergi Gunnar Sol Barjuan.
Very good. Anyway, let's return back to British shores. Premier League preview. It's Friday night. Of course, we're going to do that.
Friday then.
Okay, cool.
Saturday,
Nice.
Sunday.
What? Let's talk about, for goodness sake, let's talk about Premier League action this weekend. Let's talk about, there's some big games going on. Leicester have got Arsenal in the early kickoff. Don't ever bet on the early kickoff if you're gambling responsibly. Liverpool against Brighton in a Champions League tie. I think that is a huge tie come the end of the season. Spurs United, we should probably touched upon. But Ed, let's talk about Liverpool-Brighton.
Real 6-pointer.
A real 6-pointer. I think, are you scared of Brighton? I think, there's players such as Aaron Connolly, who is an Irish international. He might be playing. He's from Galway, actually. His mum might be coming to watch, and she's a Galway girl, apparently. So,
Come on.
You
there
have
we go.
elbowed that one in there. Jesus.
No, not at all. I have not elbowed in an Ed Sheeran Galway girl pun just for the sake of it. But no.
What's her name?
are you
Nancy
worried?
Mulligan.
It might be. Who knows? But again, that's another Ed
End the
Sheeran
pod.
pun.
Yeah.
End the pod. Are you worried for Brighton?
No.
worried-
Am I
worried.
worried for Brighton? Yeah.
Are you worried
absolutely.
as a Liverpool fan for Brighton coming to Anfield and tearing you apart because Graham Potter is going to be the next England manager? Carry on.
No, I'm not too concerned. I think I'm more concerned about
That's
the
the
fact
wrong
I've got
answer.
The fact I've got Sanchez in goal in my fantasy team. He might be getting a bit of a peppering this weekend.
Oh no!
Salt and pepper in.
No, I mean Liverpool are in a very good space at the minute. We had a tricky fixture midweek, but it was quite a change side against Preston, and managed to come through that just about. So all the big boys have had a break, and yeah, we'll be sending shivers down Brighton's spines this weekend, no
Haven't
doubt.
you already used shivers as a pun?
Did
this
we?
pod? I
Or
think
was
you
that
did.
pre-pod?
I think you're
Right,
banned,
okay.
Ed, from now using
Oh, right, still got some
After
left.
that double shivers.
Double shivers is terrible. That is absolutely. Someone will probably clip it later today.
Double
But
shivers.
you said good space there. That's very, you talking like a football manager. A manager's always talk about, we're in a good moment. We're in a good moment.
In this moment, we're in a good space. Good space.
Yeah, and Pep goes, I'm very happy. I'm sure happy. Pep always says that. But yeah, do you think Brighton will? What do you think the score will be in that game?
Will Brighton score? I think it might be a low-scoring affair.
Interesting.
Maybe 1-0, 2-0 Liverpool.
Interesting.
I'm not sure they'll score. I still don't back Brighton as an attacking side yet. They're very
No,
good
you play
defensively, which I think is why Liverpool will struggle to break them down. But I mean, we do say this every week that Neil Maupay is your main striker, but you're still doing very well. So
Still doing very well.
maybe we need to eat our words. And no, that's not an Ed Sheeran song.
I was thinking about it. I was like, nah, it's definitely not. Anyway, Barnes, what's going to catch your eye in the Premier League this weekend?
For me, the game of the weekend is at Villa Park on
At Turf
Sunday.
Moor.
Is it Turf Moor? they're playing
Love you, Burnley. What are you doing?
on that game. They're playing Brentford. For all these responsible gamblers, get 0-0 on.
Lump
It's
on.
gonna
Do you
be-
reckon?
What you
I
both
think
got?
I think Brentford will win.
Well, if Brentford do win, then I'm
I'll
sort
eat
of scared
my
to
hat.
mention Burnley now. But yeah, if Burnley are in big trouble if Brentford do win. But I want to talk about the Aston Villa West Ham game. I think in recent weeks, Dean Smith has started to come under quite a lot of pressure from the Villa fans. They signed quite a lot of players. I know they lost Jack Grealish.
Wendy.
Well, yeah, signed
Thank you,
Buendia and Leon Bailey, and
Yeah,
they're playing
been
this
injured, huh?
like 3-5-2 formation, and which doesn't have any wingers, but he signed 2 wingers in Bailey and Buendia. So I think the Villa fans seem to get like quite irate about that, and they seem to concede a lot of goals from set pieces. Whereas on the other hand, you have West Ham, who are great from set pieces and also doing really well in the league.
Doing very
So
well.
I think it could be if West Ham win against Aston Villa. I've not got the table here, but
West Ham
They will
are
be
in
going-
P4 and
They're in
Villa are in
P4.
P13.
P4.
yes, I was very
Welcome to the
F1 of
checkered
you.
flag
Yeah.
podcast.
Villa have lost their last 3.
Yes,
Fun
West
fact.
Ham will be moving many seconds ahead of Aston Villa, I suppose.
Undercut. Interesting.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think if West Ham win, I don't think they'll go any higher than they are, but Villa could well be
They
be
need a
dropping.
10-goal swing.
They're on Villa are on the same amount of points as Watford.
I mean, they've lost 5 games this season, Villa. Like
Mm.
that's a lot considering they were I think, pretty good. And a couple of people said they were their dark horses as well, if I remember rightly, on one of the opening pods. But yeah, I think it's been a struggle. I think Dean Smith needs to get some points in soon. Otherwise, come Christmas, he might be seeing an early bath.
Whoa! Is it
Is that an
early
early
though?
bath?
What
Yeah,
do
is
we
it early?
constitute as early?
A sacking is an early
We
bath.
get an early Christmas present with a little payout. There are some
Well,
big
yeah.
games floating about down the bottom of the table. There's Watford, Southampton this week. Watford 14th, Southampton are 16th. Big games, big games.
Big games. Chris, what big games are you looking at this weekend?
I'm obviously going to talk about the Leicester versus Arsenal
Big
early
game.
kickoff.
And if
tomorrow.
I was a gambling man, I'd put Jamie Vardy to score, wouldn't I?
You probably would, because he always scores against the so-called Big Six teams.
The team he snubbed as well, Arsenal, back in the day.
Yes, he did indeed.
Met with Wenger and then turned him down. Don't think many players have done that in their time.
Just give me the vodka and the Charlie.
Yeah. No WKDs in the fridge at Arsenal.
Exactly.
Exactly. Only Gunnosaurus meat in the fridge,
Oh
unfortunately.
God.
Whoa.
Wow.
But-
What a horrible image.
I know.
I didn't know that's what happened to Gunnosaurus. I thought he just got sacked.
That's what I thought. Oh, dear.
well, it's the Kronkers. They're shady US businessmen and that.
Okay, good. Alienate the whole US business sector. Good.
Well, you know. Anyway, obviously, with Arsenal, obviously, Arteta's come out and said that there's been a case of the old sickness, the two Bob Bits in the old Arsenal camp, and like it's going to be interesting to see which players are ill, because I don't think they've said which players are ill, but I'd be a bit like Tom Skinner. I wouldn't be nervous, but I would be start to get a bit shaky. You know what I mean? If I did see the likes of Sead Kolasinac and Pablo Mari in the starting lineup tomorrow, because obviously with the defence, Arsenal have been playing. Obviously they've done a very good job. Obviously Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, White, Gabriel, and Tierney. Obviously White had to come off midweek after Arsenal beat Leeds in the League Cup midweek. But obviously it's going to be an interesting one with Leicester as well. See how well they build, because obviously they have gained a bit of momentum. Obviously they beat Manchester United, and then they went on and beat Brentford as well. And obviously they're also through in the League Cup and that. And like for me, like Yuri Tielemans is one of the best players in the Premier League. And that the guy just oozes class. Like you just watch him. He's just one of them players that you just love playing as a neutral. And that like he pretty much do like everything in that central midfield role. He's a really good deep lying playmaker, and that he's got a magnificent shot on him. And I think like that's going to be like the key battle tomorrow, would be that sort of central midfield, whether Arsenal maybe play a bit more conservative in there, because I know like obviously Barnes talked about Villa's shape and that. Obviously Arsenal just play. It looked like Arsenal played pretty much straight up 4-4-2 against Aston Villa.
Oh, we'd love to see it.
4-4-2.
Oh yeah.
But I think like obviously a team like Leicester, whether one of Lacazette or Aubameyang get dropped, I mean one of them might be ill, I don't know yet. But whether one of them get dropped in favour of another central midfielder, maybe like Ødegaard, and that's going there. Maybe just even put like just one person on Tielemans just to stop getting him flowing. That, because if you put someone on him, then it helps nullify Leicester's threat. But obviously we've mentioned earlier like Jamie Vardy as well. Like obviously like he's just a great player as well, isn't he? And he's just someone that always turns up in like big games. He loves scoring against the big six teams, and
he does.
And he'll look to get in behind Arsenal's defence as well. So I think that is going to be an interesting game. Unfortunately, I won't be watching it live because I'll probably be making a fool of myself on the football pitch.
Who have you got this week, Chris? Who have you got?
Stonesfield Reserves at the Whitney
village.
ATP.
Oh, if anyone's in Whitney, go down to the ATP, see early bath, Chris.
Yeah.
Chris, do you reckon Arsenal are underdogs in this fixture? Because I was going to say you never back the early kickoff with the favourites, but I don't know who's favourite in this one.
That's an interesting one, because obviously you'd say Leicester have had a bit of a mixed season as well as Arsenal.
Yeah, they're dreadful at the start.
And that, but I would say Arsenal are underdogs. Pretty much, main one, it's at the King Power and that, and two, like I just think maybe Leicester's starting 11 is probably a little bit stronger than Arsenal's, and obviously they play like a good system as well under Brendan Rodgers. But
yeah, I think with Arsenal, I've gotten to the point where I don't really expect anything from them because they've got such a young squad that haven't really played that much together. I don't really expect that much from them. Whereas Leicester, you know what you're getting from them. Rodgers has been there for quite a while. A fair few of the players are still there from when they won the league. So yeah, I'd say maybe Arsenal are underdogs for this one. So maybe they'll get a win in the early fixture.
Yeah, maybe that would suit us. I mean, if Arsenal win, that's pressure on Manchester United because we go above them. And I mean,
really?
I'll say it again.
On 14 points.
Yeah, I'll say it again. Total contenders Manchester United and relegation candidates Arsenal. I mean, how embarrassing would that be if Arsenal went above them?
I don't think Arsenal are that bad. I wouldn't say they're underdogs. I think the teams are pretty closely matched. And Arsenal did beat Leicester at the King Power last season. There was no fans, obviously, so that does make a difference. But I think that's worth saying. So they have got experience winning there. I think it'd be a very close game, though.
Yeah, Arsenal technically in better form. They've won 3 of their last 5 and drawn the other 2. Leicester have won 2 of their last 5, drawn 2, lost 1.
Both teams are very random this season, aren't they?
Very sporadic. Leicester were dreadful at the start of the season, and Jamie Vardy dragged them through, and now they seem to be hitting a bit of form.
Yeah, Arsenal were terrible at the start of the season as well.
Talking about terrible teams, how many do you think Norwich are going to concede this weekend?
Oh God,
0.
They got Leeds at home.
Up the Canaries.
Up the Canaries, baby. Up the Delia. Up the Delia.
Leeds aren't in good form at all. I mean, they've got quite a couple of players back this weekend, but they're not in good nick, are they?
First win for Norwich of the season this weekend, potentially.
Possibly.
I said this before, and I've been burnt before, so I'm not going to say it again. But Josh Sargent did miss an open goal in that game, so I'm blaming him. But
always good
so
to miss an own goal.
Please, Daniel Clark.
Very good.
That is always
great
a
insight.
positive.
Very good.
It was positive. Yeah, I just don't see them winning any games at the minute. They're not a creative side going forward. You've got players like Sargent, as Ash said, missing open goals. I mean, Pookie scored twice, I think, this season. You just can't see them buying a win. But who knows? They're playing at home. Leeds have got a lot of injury problems. If they're going to win, this could be it.
Yeah, now is the right time to play Leeds, isn't it? Like obviously, Leeds' injury problems and just the form that Leeds have been in. But like, the thing is, like, then again, it doesn't matter. At least with Leeds, you kind of know they're going to still be playing their pressing system on Norwich, and that is just whether Norwich can be at, handle Leeds being down their throats.
I've just had a look. Norwich have scored 2 goals this season, conceded 23.
Why is Daniel Clark not under more pressure to beat? What? Because he's been absolutely terrible. Like, if it was any other club, he'd be sacked. And we had Stuart Webber came out in the week, who's I think he's the sporting director of Norwich, saying that some of their performances had been disgraceful. Like, how is the manager not under more pressure? I don't understand it. No one seems to be talking about Daniel Farker potentially getting sacked, but their team isn't great, granted, but it's not lose 7-0 bad.
That's bad for
that is really bad. And 2 goals and was it Ed? You said 20
nine
23
games, 2 goals.
That's they've had hard fixtures, but that is horrific.
But he also said, I've just found some quotes from him actually from this week. Norwich sporting director Stuart Webb has hit out at club's critics and said they are not in the Premier League to be tourists and swap shirts. Webber has branded Saturday's 7-0 defeat by Chelsea, leaving them bottom of the Premier League and without a win as unacceptable. Yeah, it is an interesting one because, why is he not under more pressure? They've been dreadful. They don't seem to be close, like I just said, close to winning a game. But then at the same time, they haven't spent any money, so it's pretty much the same team that they came up with in the Championship. So.
Yeah, it's almost as if they pretty much accepted that they are literally just.
They just love the parachute payments.
Yeah, they love the parachute. They just love being a yo-yo club. They just love going up and down, up and down,
up and down, baby. I don't think Newcastle are going to get their first one in this season. They got Chelsea, who have been in good form, obviously. So
obviously, it's going to be interesting to see how Graham Jones does. Second game which again I find that a bit of a farce as well. Like why sack Steve Bruce and then not have someone lined up? Like, exactly. All right, you can understand Graham Jones, being in charge for the first game and that, but you would have thought this week they would have brought someone in. I mean, I get they want to take their time in that, but it will soon get to the stage where if they're not picking up like more, well, they haven't even won it this season, have they? In that, and obviously if they don't win again. Oh no, I highly doubt they're going to win again this Saturday, just because like, all right, Chelsea do have a couple of injuries, obviously Lukaku and that, but like, I obviously like Chelsea got so much strength and depth, and they got a manager in Tuchel that can pick up results and that, and like with Newcastle, it's like, you're going to need to bring in someone sooner rather than later, otherwise you're going to be in massive trouble. They're going to be the highest worth club in the Championship.
Indeed. And yeah, just to finally touch on, earlier this week there was the sad news that Walter Smith passed away, the former Rangers, Everton, Scotland manager. I was looking at his stats earlier, very successful manager at Rangers, and I think he's a massive loss to not just Scottish football, but football as a whole. And it's just very sad news. I know a lot of tributes towards him this week. And Chris said earlier that he was even assistant manager at United, wasn't he? At 2004, 2005, he said?
Yeah, 2004. Yeah, it was literally like last 3 months of the season, but it was part of the coaching set that obviously won the FA Cup final against Millwall.
I saw an article where he banned fouls in training because Cristiano Ronaldo wouldn't pass the ball. So they banned fouls in training, so he had to pass the ball. And apparently Ronaldo was getting fuming and saying, why is, it's not going to be this in the game. But they were just like, you know what, you got to learn to pass. So maybe he had a bit of an influence on making Cristiano Ronaldo the player that he was today. But a very sad loss for everyone there. But apart from that, I don't have anything. We've been going for about 45 minutes or so now. I don't have anything else to talk about. Lads, do you want to get anything off your chest? Football, non-football related? It's an open forum. Anyone else wants it in the comments? Good luck to the Ox
on Saturday, facing the Shrimpers at the Theatre of Dreams, otherwise known as the Kassam Stadium. They're doing cheap tickets as well, so get down to the Kassam. Yeah, £10.
That's unreal.
So, if you want to go see some great standard of football and Matty Taylor banging in goals, get down to the
£10 to see future Ballon d'Or winner Herbie Kane. and future England #1 Jack Stevens. Unbelievable.
And the best Liverpool Academy graduate ever, Cameron Brannigan.
Wow, £10.
Well, just see James Henry. I mean, £10 just see the GOAT of League One.
The GOAT. Not of League One, the GOAT in general, Chris, obviously.
Yeah, better player than Messi and Ronaldo. If you wouldn't mind, I would like just to quickly jump in on the whole like Walter Smith thing.
Yeah, of course, please do.
It's incredibly sad. Like you look at like the job he done at especially Rangers, it's absolutely phenomenal. What was it, 10 league titles? And I think back in the 90s he won like 6 or 7 in a row. And that, and like he was literally like what, because obviously with like the old Champions League format back in the 1990s, like it used to be a group stage, and then the top 2 teams would play each other in the final. And Rangers, I think it was the 92-93 season. Obviously he was managing Rangers at the time, and there was literally 1 point behind the group winners, which were Marseille. And Marseille went on to win that final. So like he nearly got into Champions League final, and then obviously when he came back for his second spell, he obviously got them to a UEFA Cup final as well. And obviously you look at the state of Scottish football now, like you wouldn't think that any Scotland teams are going to get anywhere near any European finals. So it's just a wonderful achievement, and he was just a wonderful character. I mean, it just goes to show the amount of people that paid tribute to him is just absolutely phenomenal. And that, and like, our thoughts like with his like friends and family and whatnot. Just tragic news this week.
Thank you very much, Chris. Lovely words. And on that somber note, we will call it a day there. Thank you very much for everyone that listened and watched, etc., etc. We do appreciate it. We're on 43 subscribers out of 50, which we're basically getting like 1 new subscriber every pod, which is not a bad sort of return, but we'd love to get that up a bit more. Hit that 50 mark we'll call it by the end of not this month, next month, by December. Maybe like that. I don't know. Some point in
by
November.
2022. Come on, we want 50 by 2022, people.
Oh, I think we can easily do that.
We can easily get that.
Easily. Please do subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when we go live. we do appreciate everyone that does follow and like, etc. At the minute. Please do retweet, share, comment, engage with the content. We're going to try and get some content out there. We do appreciate it. Up to the road to 50. That's what we're doing. And maybe we'll stop doing Ed Sheeran puns when we get to 50.
Maybe. Are we going to do a
Perfect.
special at any time soon? We need another special, I think, where we talk about something that's not current footballing affairs.
Yeah, no, we should do it. We're due a little bit of a deep dive into a random football topic. So if anyone has any ideas, throw a comment in.
I was going to say there's an international break coming up, and that's always a good way to. That's always something good to put on.
Yeah, okay, we might do that. I know Ash has been itching to do best dressed Premier League managers for a while, actually. So we should probably do that at some point.
Coming soon. Get it in your diaries.
Get it in the diaries. When there's a London Fashion Week or something, we'll do that. But no, anyway, thank you very much, everyone. It's waving goodbye from Ed, Ash, and Chris, and myself. Goodbye. Have a lovely weekend. Up the football, up the Ox.